Kaizen, blitzing your IE career.
Kasi minsan, sir, may notion din na parang ang IE ay nalilabel as indie eng or instant eng. So, what do you think about that, sir?
For me, it's indie lang eng.
Hindi lang eng.
Because since I was working for a multinational consulting firm, also got insights from managers and partners and directors from overseas. So stepping up to the challenge, even if you know that you might not do such a good job, but it's to stretch yourself and learn. That has all made all the difference because I'm always willing to do something new, learn something new, and be willing to fail.
Kaizen, Blitzing Your IE Career, a podcast where we talk with seasoned industrial engineers and learn how they have navigated their careers from university to their present roles. I'm your host, Johnny Boydon, from the UP Industrial Engineering Department. Our first guest is Sir Benj Azada. He is currently the Executive VP and Chief Commercial Officer and Chief Sustainability Officer at Converge ICT Solutions. He graduated UPIE Batch 96. Welcome to the show, sir. Kamusta? Kamusta?
Good morning, and good morning to all our listeners and viewers.
Ayun, sure. So dito sa podcast, no, we will talk with seasoned IEs and learn more about their career. So paano nga ba sila nag-navigate from university to their early stage career and to their late stage careers. But first, sir, pag-usapan
Late
muna
stage?
natin. Di ba, sir,
Well,
late stage,
mid-
Siguro
mid pa lang
mid-stage
naman.
career. Sorry about that,
Joke lang.
Ayun. But, sir, pag-usapan muna natin ang iyong college life, ang iyong university life. So, kamusta nga ba ang college life, sir?
Yeah, so student number 91. I entered UP as an oblation scholar.
Oh, wow.
We were the first batch of oblation scholars. So as you might expect, I went to high school in a Jesuit school. So all my high school, akala ko mag-Ateneo ako. Nag-apply ako sa Ateneo, Management Engineering, kasi yun yung uso nung time namin. And all the smart kids in our school, yun ang ina-applyan. Unless they wanted to be doctors, diba? So kung maging business world, private sector, ME kaagad ang ina-applyan. And then, ayun. And then, nag-apply din ako ng UP, diba? Ang sinasabi sa school namin, sa high school, IE is the UP's equivalent of ME. Yun lang pagkaintindi ko sa IE, no? I didn't really know what it was in detail. I got accepted to both. Pero sa UP, oblation scholar ang award. Although may partial scholarship din sana ako sa Ateneo, I decided to do UP for a change, something different, a new environment, and I guess more challenging also. Yun.
Yeah, so new environment and my scholarship. Pero when you were in college na, sir, so when you were freshman maybe or like third year college, fourth year college, so nagbago ba yung inyong impression sa IE back from when you were like deciding things pa lang na you wanted to take up ME sa Ateneo or IE sa UP? So medyo nagbago ba yung inyong impression or was it the same ba?
Actually, first year pa lang nagbago na yung impression ko kasi dahil nga hindi ko alam kung meron pa yun ngayon eh. May nung time ko may tinatawag na APE, advanced placement. So na pumasa ako sa advanced placement ng Com 1 ko 2. I don't know what you call it now. English. So exempted ako sa English sa Com 1, which I don't know what it's called now. So may kulang ako ng units. So kumuha ako ng ES1. First year, first sem, nag-ES1 ako.
Oh, wow.
And then I got, so I was coming to Melchor Hall as a freshman, doing plates, and for one of the first times in my life, there's a subject that hindi to kaya ng ng utak ko. So because it was just such a different part of my brain being used. Yun. So doon pa lang nagulat na ako.
Yes, by the way, si ES1 yan ang engineering drawing na subject. So medyo
Iba
abstract thinking siya.
Yes.
Medyo kailangan ng outside the box thinking rin.
3D ang thinking.
Yes, sir. So ano naman, sir, yung parang mga naging favorite subjects nyo? So medyo may mga subjects na medyo nakakabigla, pero ano naman yung parang subjects na made you really love IE or made you decide na parang IE talaga ang para sa inyo?
I'm going to answer that in two ways. I'm going to answer first what were my favorite IE major subjects, and then my favorite core subjects ng curriculum na hindi naman GE, pero nasa IE curriculum but not taught by the IE department. So in the IE department, I think the course that really prepared me for the workforce was um, methods engineering.
Methods engineering.
Kasi,
IE32?
yes, that time
IE32.
it was called 32.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
I
was
don't know.
it's same.
Still. And then the other one is production systems.
Oh,
IE 151 nung time na yun.
151. Yes, same.
Yes. Because that's, I guess, those two courses are the core of the IE domain, or at least traditionally, right? It's
Yes.
around systems for creating value and how to improve them, right? It's where you learn the very basics of what Taylor and Galbraith taught, right? And Deming and all of that. So I really enjoyed that. I didn't get very good grades. Pero at least na-impress talaga sa utak ko yung IE way of thinking, yung looking for bottlenecks. Pati yung, like now, I'm in sales. Ginagamit ko yung mindset na yon of looking for bottlenecks in the sales process, which is basically line balancing, diba? Sa IE 151. So, yun. But then, in terms of nerdiness, kasi nerd ako diba? What gave me a lot of enjoyment, nerdiness, was actually the IE 181 and 183.
Which
Stochastic
is
systems and stochastic methods and basta yung mga queuing theory,
yes, your
yung mga
queuing
ganun.
theory.
And system simulation. Yun.
Oh.
Kasi for the first time, I'm applying my programming skills to proper IE problems. Kasi nung time na yon, this is what, almost 30 years ago, when we did OR, it was all manual, right? We never used the software. So I didn't experience it. But in 183, may machine problem there. You have to really do it. So okay, this is really fun. Yun. Now in terms of non-IE subjects that I think supported my career and shaped how I think, economics.
Economics.
And
Macro economics?
well, kasi nung time namin, ang curriculum, you took Econ 11, which is both macro and micro
yes.
combined in one semester. Ang nagturo sa akin nun si Professor Monsod.
Oh.
So, mind-blowing siya. So there. Even though it was a large lecture class, but still, it really laid the foundation for thinking holistically about business and the economy, etc. And the other one, of course, is the accounting series, because that's really the language of business. You can't enter the private sector without at least having a little bit of knowledge of accounting. So, accounting 1 and BA 115, which is management accounting. I don't know if that's still required
Yes, sir.
sa inyo.
Yun pa rin.
Okay, great.
Siguro, sir, on yung deep dive lang tayo, doon sa may majors that you like,
Yeah.
yung methods engineering and yung production systems.
Uh-huh.
Did you also do like a project back then, or
Yeah.
was it more of like theoretical, or
No,
did you apply this as students?
in long time namin, we had projects in almost every subject. So even 31, IE 31, we had a mini project. So we had to study an organization of a company. Ang si Dr. Iris ang teacher ko noon.
Oh.
But fresh grad siya noon.
Shout out kay.
Fresh grad siya nun. And then 32 methods engineering. We went to a plant in Valenzuela that was making electric stoves. Yung mga coil stove. So yun, may methods engineering namin yung paggawa ng time study and methods engineering ng mga yun. And then 151, we did sa kuya yata ni Prof. Soriano. He was the plant manager of a chemical pesticide manufacturer, Rompolong, French multinational. Nag line balancing kami doon. 1 quality. What's the quality control? We did Petron, the lube oil plant, doing shoe heart control charts. 155, that's when we went to a toy manufacturing company and did a total system design. We looked at all the way the whole supply chain worked. So yeah, I think meron pa but lots of projects.
Yes, actually yan din ang fun sa IE, maybe for our listeners din, kasi you actually you actually use yung mga natututunan into
Yeah.
actual project stuff, actual projects that you do. How about sir yung operations research series? So meron din ba itong mga projects or was it mainly theoretical?
Nung time ko, mainly theoretical. I think there was a small project, but I can't remember the topic eh. Sa 142. I can't remember, but there was one. But it wasn't a major project where you have to do a lot of field work. But 183 queuing, yung stochastic, yes, we went and observed queuing at a fast food store
Oh.
and compute. So kaya it's not a big project pero computed okay how many cashiers should be open at the time yung ganun.
Oh,
Oh, yun.
yes. Actually, yun nga yung fun part niyan ano, maybe capacity analysis
Yeah.
like we use mathematics to calculate ano nga ba yung optimal number of people, optimal number of
Yeah.
workers in a certain system para ma-optimize, para maging mas efficient and mas effective yung pag-deliver ng service ng mga prosesong ito.
And yeah, it's important to learn it from a probabilistic perspective kasi if you just use broad averages, there are times it's peaks and troughs,
Yes.
and then you're only putting capacity for the average. Eh, paano what are those peak times? So it's really important to understand it from a statistical point of view. Yun.
Yes, that's actually a good insight ano. And yes, later sir ano, let's talk more about like
Yeah.
paano nga ba exactly nagamit or paano ba exactly nadala into your career, into your work itong mga natutunan ninyo when you were in university. Pero let's talk a bit more about your college life pa sir, like maybe outside ACADS life.
Mhm.
Kamusta ba sir ang Sir Benjamin Azada back then in college where you focused on your ACADS or do you have time for extracurricular or partying or something like that? So kamusta nga ba sir overall no in general ang inyong college
I
life?
really enjoyed my time at UP. Freshman pa lang may org na ako.
Oh.
Inimbita ako ng mga frat but in the end hindi ako nag-frat. I decided to be a barbarian.
Barbarian. Actually, yun nga yung usong term dati sa
Yeah.
UP. I remember.
Pag
Yes.
hindi ka part ng frat or sorority, barbarian ka daw. Anyway. So yeah, as a freshman, I was part of the freshman assembly. I don't think that exists anymore. But basically, it's an org for freshmen that organizes events for freshmen. Because at that time, freshmen freshman first sem couldn't join university-wide orgs, right? Later on, we set up our own org. This is from friends from different parts of the university. More arts and culture. We did a play. We did we did musical. Yung mga ganon. Then third year, I joined religious org. I joined Ictus.
Oh, Ictus.
And I
Yeah.
also signed up for IE Club.
Oh.
So sorry clubber ako. I don't clubber ako. But nung time na yun, ang IE Club, which is one of the two major orgs of IEDEP, it was only open for IE majors or other engineering majors who are intending to shift in. Yun. So it's different I think from what IE Club is now, which is like a U-wide org. Yeah. So medyo iba yun yung focus. Yeah.
Ayun. So, IE Club pala si Sir Benjamin ano. Engineering week sir. So, may engineering week ba nun? And
Yeah,
kamusta?
EWOC kami.
EWOC,
no,
of
Engineering
course.
Week
IE
Overall
Club.
Champion is what it's called. And I was in fifth year. I was the head of the Awitan
Oh.
Awitan team that competed in Awitan, and we got best in A.
Oh.
Because there's two awards. There's the award because it's an open university-wide competition for Christmas carols, right? So of course, usually the ones who win are not engineering chords because they have better voices. But we were best in it. So and I think third place overall. Yeah.
In general sir, what do you think about like yung parang pagiging balance ng isang student, especially in your perspective ano na of course as university students, it's important that we deal with our ACADS ano, pero important din naman na ma-hone yung ating ibang mga skills with extracurricular activities. So, what do you think about kumbaga yung UP ano rin, yung UP culture din ano na parang we have our ACADS but we also still have time for our extracurricular. So do you think na maganda na ganun maging balanced or general yung mga kumbaga yung growth ng mga college students?
Oh, definitely. And I think that's the fact that UP compared to other universities has a lower unit count. So tayo 18 units more or less plus minus. kung arts and letters ka, 15 units. Versus, LaSalle, UST, UP, ay, Ateneo, nagka 21 units sila minsan. I think that's a big benefit for us because you do have a bit more free time. You can stay on campus. We have a beautiful campus uh, that makes you want to stay. Even if wala ka ng klase in the afternoon, you'll hang out until, at least on my time, you'll hang out until sunset, right? And yeah, take part in student life. I think that's really important. Whether and it doesn't matter whether you're in varsity or in orgs, in frats, or just attending arts and culture events. Right, the fact that we have a very thriving theater scene.
Mm.
We have independent movies at UP Film Center you can watch. Lots, or you just making tambay. I think that hones social skills, makes you just enjoy college life because once you get into the workforce, wala na yun eh. So, you better enjoy college.
Anong favorite tambayan niyo, sir, sa UP?
Siyempre, IE Club Tabayan. Third floor Melchor Hall.
Oh, third floor Melchor Hall.
Pero earlier, before starting majors in Eng, we would tumatambay ako sa mga tambayan namin ng freshman assembly at ng uprise in AS in Palma Hall.
NAS.
In AS
Oh,
Palma Hall.
AS, Palma Hall.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And I also sometimes drop by the Ictus tambayan dun sa may Delaney Hall.
Delaney Hall.
Sa
Sa
may UP
church,
Chapel.
sa
Sa
UP
church.
Chapel.
Yes,
Oo.
yes.
How about pala, sir, yung mga professors back then? I mean, how was the culture of teaching back then? I just want to, para din malinawan ang mga nakikinig sa atin, ano? I mean, ano nga ba ang, kumbaga, yung teaching life sa UP? How do students actually learn, ano? So, especially sa UPIE. So, how was your experiences, sir, dealing with UPIE professors and even yung mga non-IE, yung mga outside
Yeah.
IE
Now, one thing I
professors?
like about the UPIE profs, especially in my time, is that many of them have not only academic backgrounds but also have industry experience.
Then,
So they bring in how it's really done in the real world. I think that's quite important because uh, the examples they give are much richer. Um, uh, they also kind of say, if something's is very theoretical, like how it's actually used in real life, and also gives them more credibility when advising us on when we're doing our projects, right? So they can come in and really provide that advice. So really appreciative of that, and even in outside of engineering, uh like my econ 11 class, my economics class was taught by former NEDA secretary
oh.
Professor Monsod, right? Who was also on TV, right? So very prestigious professors. My history 2 Asian history teacher was the first Igorot PhD in the Philippines. So with who had a degree in Japanese studies. So these are the best of the best in the country, academics, and just sitting in their classes and listening to them uh, and learning from them is a very enriching experience.
Yeah, so I'd like to agree to that, ano, na ang ganda rin kapag yung mga professors or mga teachers natin sa mga subjects natin ay kumbaga may industry expertise and may real life experience. So, punta tayo dyan, sir, ano, sa how you navigated naman after graduating college into the workforce, ano. Pero before we go to that, sir, I want to ask a question about ang IE kasi wala siyang board exam. Ngayon meron ng CIE, may
May
certification.
CIE.
Pero what do you think about that, ano lang, no, about that. Kasi minsan, sir, may notion din na parang ang IE ay nale-label as indie eng or instant eng. So, what do you think about that, sir?
For me, it's hindi lang eng.
Hindi lang eng.
Because you are taught engineering principles, and engineering methods, the engineering way of thinking, and you do have domain knowledge, right? It's the application of mathematical tools to business problems. So why is that any different from any other engineering discipline? But yes, I understand in the Philippines, especially this credentialism is very rampant. Kung walang board, they look up down upon it, right? As a course. And I think that's one reason why the CIE and the PIE credentials were created. I'm thinking wala lang akong oras but I'm trying to get the PIE, right?
Oh.
Yung PIE na grandfathered, yung hindi exam, pero based on submission of experience. Sana
Oh.
makuha ko. But I'm a member of PIIE. Uh, and you can see that the where IEs go in their career very diverse. But many of them are in areas where at least a big part of their role is one that needs the skills that were taught in IE, right? Systems thinking, right? Business analysis, process re-engineering. Kaya yun. So I think it's quite important, and I think to create a board for IE might actually be limiting because our
Mm.
discipline changes so fast. Every 10 years, iba na
Oh.
yung iba na yung techniques. The domain of is the same, but the techniques applied are different. Diba? Uh, so so if you do the board and then they'll be updating the board every
Ah.
3 years. Kung gano'n. Di naman siya stable eh.
Matrabaho din,
Oo,
matrabaho din.
matrabaho din.
Actually, maybe nga to keep the flexibility kumbaga, the
Mm,
versatility of IE is maganda na rin na parang when you graduate, you can easily go to any industry, you can
correct.
easily go to any company.
Correct.
Now let's move on dun sir. So after graduation, kamusta nga ba ang life after graduation? Was it easy or difficult to find your first job after you graduated from
Hmm,
IE? And ano nga ba sir ang inyong first work
hmm.
after college?
So bago ako graduate, may job offers na ako.
Oh.
So in my second sem of fifth year, I was already we were my job fair. I'm already applying to jobs. I applied to what is now known as Accenture, which is the IT consulting firm, right? I applied to a few other IT companies. I was also offered a job with Fujitsu Manufacturing, and also with Unilever in product management. But eventually, I decided to join a small startup team, but within a large firm. So, Pricewaterhouse at the time now called PricewaterhouseCoopers, largest or second largest professional services firm in the world. But they were just starting their management consulting practice here in the Philippines. Parang 2 years pa lang siya. And then some of uh, former, also IE alumni were already there. They had, they were 1 or 2 years ahead of me. They were already there, and they were telling me, how much fun it is. Because it's like you're just continuing to do IE
Ah.
projects, but in real life na. So yun, so I joined what we call the change integration team. Did did I did a supply chain study for a electric wire manufacturer in Mandaluyong. Did uh, did a business process re-engineering job for a shipping line and for a sugar mill in Bacolod. So yun, talagang na-apply kong IE. Yun.
And by the way, sir, did you have an parang internship maybe or OJT
Ye-
in college?
I did, but
Mm.
at that time, UP did not require internships. But between my third and fourth year, I still did a internship at the Everready battery company.
Oh.
Does not exist anymore in the Philippines. Wala nang manufacturing ang Everready sa
Mm.
Pilipinas. They moved it all to Indonesia. But at that time, there was a plant in Mandaluyong, and I did CPK. Yeah, I did a Q quality control study, Six Sigma
Oh,
studies.
Six
So I
Sigma.
was using a caliper measuring the length of AA batteries and trying to see whether it's within Six Sigma. But and no, it's not. It's four Sigma lang balanse lang na noon, di ba? Yun. But yun, and also doing machine downtime studies.
Hmm.
So yun, so using sampling methods, yun, to
And
do machine downtime.
ayun nga sir so kanina ang favorite mong subjects ay yung methods engineering,
Mhm.
production systems, and yung stochastic
Yeah.
processes and simulation. So during your first first works during your first companies na sinalihan.
Mm.
So nagamit ba itong mga skills na ito, and how specifically did you use them?
So, the concepts talagang nagamit in all projects. The actual techniques, sometimes you have to simplify kasi the reality is, kung ang customer mo hindi IE, and you try to apply the very complex methodology, hindi nila magigets. So sometimes you simplify it. But there's one case when we were doing the warehouse location study for that wire manufacturer talking about. We used the multiple center of gravity method from OR, right? Yun. So yeah. And using the heuristics there. So yes, apply the OR there. But of course, methods engineering, that you use that everywhere. So all projects, anything that you do have process mapping. So that's very basic in terms of applying methods engineering skills. Yeah.
How about soft skills, sir? So, kasi you also joined like extracurricular activities, and you also joined IE club. So, kamusta naman, sir, ang parang translation ng mga growth nyo in these other skills that you developed while you were in college when you were working? So, maybe communication skills, leadership. So, kamusta naman, sir, yung
Actually, I learned soft skills not only through extracurricular, but even in IE, because you have to present your projects right in front. Saka meron, I don't know now, but our GE subject, meron kaming Com3 noon.
Yes.
So, speech communication. So, I think the curriculum itself does a lot to develop soft skills. Also because most of your projects are group projects. So you learn teamwork, right? You learn how to work with your peers. Some of your peers are not easy to work with. Either tamad, don't do their job, or maybe not competent enough to do things, but you learn how to work with them, because in the real world you're gonna have to do that, right? Everything is team based nowadays, hindi naman siya individual contributor based usually, especially in our field in IE, right? Or the jobs that IEs get into. But yes, I think working for joining orgs also helps, syempre, because especially if you're naturally an introvert, mafo-force ka din maging konting pagka-extrovert. I'm not an extrovert. I might look like it, I might sound like it, but in the Briggs-Meyer, Myers-Briggs, MBTI, ano lang ako eh. Ang tawag doon, ambivert. Gitnang-gitna ako.
50-50.
50-50. Yun. Pero yun, kaya kong i-turn on kung kailangan yun.
Kung kailangan sa trabaho, kung kailangan sa ating mga
Yes.
careers.
And then after that, uuwi ako ngayon. Kukulong ako for 3 days.
But actually, sir, ang UPIE very proud sa ating pagturo or paghasa ng presentation skills ng ating mga students. Actually, yung mga students ng UPIE, nagiging very good presenters. Aside sa mga awards dito sa ating likod, very good rin talaga ang UPIE students in how we communicate our projects, and communicate our projects not just to like executives of a company, but also to non-IEs, to non-engineers.
And I would say that's something that's taught here. If you go to Ateneo, di ba, supposedly in the workplace, mas magaling sila magsalita. But I don't think they learned that in Ateneo. It's because rich kid. They learned it actually in their high school, di ba? Ganun na sila pag freshman pa lang. Tayo, we all come in as freshmen in UP as, timid, introvert, matalino, but, not very outgoing. And that just develops over time here because you're forced to. You have to interact with people from all walks of life. So, yun.
And I got to think about that, sir, kasi yung pag-handle natin ng mga project courses, for example, dito sa UP, parang really, na rin siya, parang actual case na siya in the industry. So parang you work with your group mates, maybe iba-iba kayo, you're diverse, you're from different backgrounds, you work together, mayroong magiging leader, and then you do the project, you talk with the company, you do the IE stuff there, and at the end you will present it formal presentation to the professor and even to panelists.
And to the client.
To the client, to the company. What do you think about this training, sir? So is it very good, and tama ba na ganito yung...
That's what you're gonna do when you join the workforce. It's really what you do. Especially if the work you're gonna do is really as an IE, because you're going to be designing systems. I'm talking about social technical systems, not necessarily IT systems. And you're implementing things, and all of that requires project management skills, presentation skills, communication skills. So even the fact na learning how to write a report. Diba, in our project studies, we have to write clearly, write reports. And that's immediately transferable skill into the workforce.
Mm. Ano sir, kasi minsan lang parang minsan hindi nagiging gano'n ka-aligned yung may mga graduate ng IEs, they learn IE skills, they learn
Mm.
this IE subjects, but when they go to the workforce, hindi necessarily directly na-apply yung mga like yung for example, methods engineering, production systems. So, how about sir in your case, when you were like in your early stage career, when you were in your first company, so nagkaroon ba ng gano'ng times na parang hindi niyo actually na-apply ang IE, and in that case, how do you cope with it? How do you deal with that?
Actually, in my case, I'm very thankful na my entire career na-apply ko IE. Even later on in my career, I was switching competency from operations consulting to organization design, right? So may pagka-HR siya. But then we have a subject on that, IE 31. You learn about, functional organization versus multi-divisional, right? All of that. So that's still in our IE domain of knowledge, right? And actually, it's because of the rigor with which we approach these problems. You take an engineering thought process. Mas structured nga yung kalalabasan when IE does it versus when a psych graduate does it.
Structure
Yung mga
actually.
HR, yeah, because where you think about an organization as a system, open system, diba? So ganon. It's very applicable what we learn in college.
How was daily work life back then, sir? I mean, how was work life? How was, kumbaga, kamusta ang araw sa isang Sir Benjamin Azada when you were working?
Early career, uh, difficult because project based kasi siya. So in terms of customer clients, right? So there are times na lahang ginagawa, you're just helping the partner or the manager write proposals because they're trying to sell, right? And then when you win a project, you have a very short time to do it. Let's say 12 weeks, 3 months, kailangan mo tapusin lahat. So yeah, lots of overtime, lots of long hours, and then lots of rework kasi you do something and then after pag ni-review ng boss mo, hindi siya masaya, rewrite, ganon. So, yun, but I think that's necessary, especially in your first 3 to 5 years of your career to learn. Because I learned a lot, and I was working for since I was working for a multinational consulting firm, also got insights from managers and partners and directors from overseas. So learning also from not just Filipino executives, but also Americans, Chinese, Indians. So that was very, very important for my early career growth. Yeah.
And sir, can we see that lang so maybe we can map out your career So
Sige.
pwede ba kwento sir, how did you navigate your career over the years?
So I've actually only ever had 2 jobs.
Oh.
I've only worked for 2 companies in my entire career. One was Pricewaterhouse, PwC. I was there for 20 plus years, but in different departments. So
Which departments?
So start always consulting, right? But different areas of focus. So I started off in operations consulting kasi IE nga ako, right? Then moved to people and change or organizational change, right? So yun nga, yung org design, ganon. So, right? And then I moved to a industry focus naman, telecommunications practice, because I was doing org design work at first for PLDT and Smart, right? They were my client, and then later hinila ako to do work in kasi telecoms. So I was in org design, right? So naging telecoms org design. Tapos nahila ako sa telecoms general. So I was doing projects in Hong Kong and Taiwan. One is for mobile data strategy in Taiwan, and in Hong Kong I was doing a merger, post merger integration of a of an international carrier, of two international carriers, one Australian, one in Hong Kong. Yun. So that's where I started to get exposure to international teams, having to work cross culturally, doing a lot of business travel. Then later on, I actually moved to Hong Kong
Oh.
and I stayed there for 13 years, serving clients in the mostly the telecommunication sector at first, because I was telecoms nga sa Hong Kong, China, and or Southeast Asia. So my clients were China Mobile, China Telecom, mga ganon. And then moved into, because I was telecoms, I started to doing risk management in telecoms. So I was doing enterprise risk for the Beijing branch of China Mobile and all of that. And then later on, when the telecoms boom kind of subsided, wala na masyadong trabaho sa work sa telecommunications, I became more general na risk naman. So from vertical, naging horizontal ako ulit. So then did risk management work for a number of clients, including oil and gas in China, um, um, pharmaceuticals, etc., etc. Ayun. Then lots of changes over the time. Then finally, in 2014, came back to the Philippines. This time for the same company, still PwC, but to become a partner. So I became the partner leading consulting, the consulting practice in the Philippines, which is the practice I joined as a fresh grad. So yun, big coming back to my home originally, was there for 5 years, and then yun, inimbita ako ni Dennis Uy, not Dennis Uy of Davao, Dennis Uy of Pampanga, to join Converge, first in strategy, as chief strategy officer. Then nadagdagan ako ng role ng chief sustainability officer, and then since February this year, I'm now in charge of sales and marketing of Converge as chief commercial officer. Yun. Long summary of my career.
Ayun.
Yeah.
So we got a summary of the career of Sir Benj Azada. Pero in this whole career, sir, maybe you could share lang some of the best experiences, some of the best lessons that you've learned on how to manage your career and how to build your career. Kasi actually when you get a good education, it actually opens your door to many opportunities. You
Mhm.
can actually get good opportunities. Pero it also takes something inside of you. Eh. So what do you think about that, sir? Na parang how can you really build or manage your career,
Mm.
especially like in maintaining it for a long time, in building a good career over the years. So can you share some advice, sir, or maybe some thoughts?
Good question. I don't know if I can give advice, but I can tell you what I did in my career. I think UP taught me to learn independently and know how to learn. Because nga, I was referring to the fact that we have fewer units here than other universities. But the amount that you have to study is actually more, if not the same. The same at
Yes.
least, but likely more. Kasi UP nga tayo, right? Um, so what does that mean? If you had fewer contact hours in terms of classroom,
Yes.
but you have to learn the same amount or more, that only means a bigger proportion of what we did in college is sariling sikap in terms of studying. We actually had to read the textbooks. We actually had to do the problems and study the sample exams and all of that, which maybe is less so in other university where mas spoon fed siguro, diba? So because of that, learn how to learn, knowing how to learn, and that's what I took out into the workforce. Na continuous learning, and I'm very thankful that my first job, my first of only two jobs, is very much a learning organization. All the learning opportunities you want, you have, right? And I took it. I was very eager to take every and all training opportunities, learning opportunities, being open to coaching from my superiors, and that's what enabled me to kind of pivot my career, because I'm learning new stuff. so I can move departments because I'm learning new skills and new domains of knowledge. So,
Mm.
diba? I started off operations consulting, IE, then moved to org design, which is, yes, may subject tayo sa IE nun, as IE 31, but that's like 2 weeks of the semester that's on org, right?
Yes.
So, but you have to now become an expert. So you learn, you take the training, you learn the methodology. Then after that, later on, naging telecoms. Wala akong alam sa telecommunications. What do we learn in IE? So it's only manufacturing and general service design, service industry, like yeah. So telecoms, I didn't know anything. Hindi naman ako, wala namang EE6, EE7 lang naman ang tinuro sa IE, di ba? And then, so always shifting. Then risk management. Risk management is not that is in my time not really taught in college. So you just have to read, right? So I think that's what that continuous learning is the most important part, and it's how to navigate my career. And then the second one is also being open to new opportunities. So if an opportunity presents itself, like an opportunity to move department and all that, or take on a challenging new role, like for example, I only had 2 years experience, and after that, the partner was saying, "Oh, Benj, ikaw na lang mag-lead ng project." Parang 2 years pa lang ako, magiging project leader na ako, acting project leader. Nakakatakot, right? Uh, but then, stepping up to the challenge, even if you know that you might not do such a good job, but it's to stretch yourself and learn. That has all made all the difference because I'm always willing to do something new, learn something new, and be willing to fail. Right?
Mm.
That I didn't always do well in my career. Right? There were months and years where parang medyo sablay, diba? But it's those failures, those challenges that then help you, be prepared for greater challenges in the future.
Yeah, but that's a very good advice, sir, ano, in learning how to learn and be independent and continuously learn nga, ano.
Mm.
Pero speaking about that, sir, ano, in challenges naman. So, were there maybe some challenges or maybe some obstacles that you had to face during your career over the years, ano? So, kamusta naman yung parang mga naging hard parts,
Mm.
difficult parts?
So medyo siguro for the first 15 years of my career, it was okay. Not a big problem. The opportunities I wanted were presented to me. That's why I got to move abroad for over a decade and got to work internationally. Lots of business travel. But I guess later on, when I got to director level, because director level is the highest level before partner, and partner is when you become a shareholder, right? Uh, Doon matagal ako doon. Because that requires to become partner, the promotion is not based on technical skill or anything. It's about your ability to build a business, your ability to sell, bring in revenue, and that's what IE doesn't teach that, right? So yun, matagal ako sa director level, right? And it really needed a change in mindset, a change in approach, and also thinking more broadly about where to take my career. Because at the time I was even thinking, should I move to industry, move role? But in the end, an opportunity again presented itself. Na okay, you can be a partner, but not in Hong Kong. But you have to start almost from scratch in the Philippines again. There are 25 people that you will inherit in the Philippines,
Oh,
but then you have to grow that to 100, right, or whatever, right? Grow it. So yun, I took on that challenge,
mm.
right? But that took a while, and it took me 2 years to decide also and to think about it because I had actually partnership to become a partner in a firm like PwC. Ina-applyan yun. Then may vetting process. I went through that process 4 times
Never
before
give
I
up.
finally made it in the Philippines. Yun.
Oh.
Yun. So yun, yeah, persistence, never give up. True, and but at the same time also uh define what your goal is. What do you want? And then at first nung first, second year director, wala naman akong balak maging partner. Happy naman ako. Then later, it's the other partners are telling me, no, you should, may potential ka, you should do this. But then nung ginusto ko na siya, pinapahirapan naman ako to get promoted, right? Parang, why are you telling me to be a partner kung hindi ko rin naman kaya, di ba? And then later on, it's when I shifted my mindset na, with the opportunity to come back to the Philippines, then it's not just about me anymore and getting, getting promoted, getting more money. It is like, I'm a UP graduate. Um, uh, my entire education was paid for by the Filipino people. Now I finally have a way to come home and give back and do something impactful by building a business, by training the next generation of professionals, whether IE or not. I mean, yes, may mga IE sa team ko later on, but not all are IE. It's a cross-functional, but yeah. And then that purpose is what drove me, and I think maybe helped me get the role. And then it's that sense of purpose, that sense of wanting to make an impact on the world, is also what made me decide to leave PwC and join Converge. Kasi Philippines at that time, less than 20%, 15% at the time of Filipino households had broadband internet sa bahay. Parang compared to in Hong Kong, everyone had 1 gigabit per second connection sa bahay. Parang, and then I come home to the Philippines to see my relatives. Bakit 5 Mbps lang dito? Parang bagal-bagal, di ka maka-YouTube. So I felt a sense of purpose to say, hey, let's digitize the country. Let's provide connectivity, affordable connectivity to Filipinos. So I joined Mr. Dennis Uy, and first in strategy, then now in sales and marketing, and yun. So we're I think we have been quite successful in wiring up the country. We cover 60% of households with fiber. In terms of yung nakalatag na, but we only 20. I think Philippines right now, wala pang 30% ang may broadband internet sa bahay. So we're pushing very hard, and we launched our prepaid fiber, also our lower cost postpaid fiber, para lahat ng Pilipino makaka-afford ng internet, makaka-afford ng wifi sa bahay.
Yeah. That's a very good story, sir, on how you, kumbaga, how you communicated yung journey sa inyong career, and now you're in Converge nga. Short question lang, sir. How did you maybe know Mr. Dennis Uy, or how did you, kumbaga, how did you got invited, or how did you got into Converge?
LinkedIn. Then no, not well. Siguro LinkedIn. No, over the years, I got to know a lot of headhunters, right? Recruiters, right? And then one headhunter who had interviewed me for a job at a cement company when I was like 26 years old, like siguro. Then after that, for 20 years, di ko nakausap. 20 years later, tinawagan ako. Parang,
Oh, wow.
parang bigla akong So it pays pala to maintain relationships, and it's because we were connected on LinkedIn. Siguro LinkedIn nga. And then said, "Oh, Bench, I remember you. So you wanna know?" So yun. And then I talked to, and he introduced me to Dennis because he knew that I was working in the telecom sector in Hong Kong and China. Kasi nakalatag sa LinkedIn profile ko. And then I got to know Dennis. And then when I talked to Dennis, it was less of an interview than more of a, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. I want to help the Philippines catch up with the rest of the world, with Thailand, because even Vietnam, we're behind Vietnam in terms of internet connections. Diba? So that's what what attracted me, and it was not about the money. Wala nga akong pay increase. It's more about it's more about making an impact. From being a consultant, like what IEs do, advisory, do a report, may give recommendations. Ito, hindi na recommendation, ikaw gagawa. Really do it from all the way to implementation. So
Ayun sir, good thing you touch on that kasi maybe i-connect natin kasi si UP meron din siyang honor and excellence and now parang merong service kasi as a scholar nga parang somehow you get the responsibility to
Mm.
also pay back to
Mm.
your countrymen. So naging factor ba ito nga sir yung parang naging factor ba yung parang motto na ito ng UP maybe or parang naging factor ba talaga yung parang the kumbaga the want to give back, the purpose, the advocacy kaya ka bumalik sa Pilipinas and then joined Converge. So kumbaga how large is this factor in that
It's
decision?
everything about it. It's everything. Um, husay at dangal, right? So honor and excellence, and yeah, I think now President Gigil added service, ba?
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
bago. So yun. So I think yeah, definitely the values that the university imbibed in us, and freshman pa lang gini-guilt trip ka na
Actually.
you're only paying how much in tuition. Well, ngayon libre, 'di ba? But nung time na yun, may konting bayad pero still way below the what you would pay in a private university. But then they tell you that the cost to educate you in UP is actually higher than the cost to educate someone at LaSalle, Ateneo, or UST, because I guess look at our campus, look at the facilities, look at the caliber of our faculty, the amount of resources that are poured into education. So yun. So medyo gini-guilt trip ka first freshman pa lang, and but yeah, and then being just exposed to the realities of uh the challenges that our country faces, um uh and the different you're exposed also to the different ideologies on how to correct the problem, all the way from the far left, our
Mm.
friends with the
Mm.
uh with the KM, right? I have friends there, all the way to the ones who are, we have to solve the problem through entrepreneurship. Our BA friends who have, entrepreneur circle ba yun? So you see all the different kind of uh, intellectual strands of thought on how to solve our country's problems. And you form your own opinion after that. And for me, what I can do to solve the country's problem is to help with building infrastructure,
Mm.
by supporting uh, entrepreneurial efforts to build the infrastructure, because that's what's really missing in our country.
Mm. Ayun, sir, in relation naman with your work now in Converge kasi
Mm.
you mentioned nga na previously you were like a consultant and
Mm.
then now you're actually implementing.
Mm.
So, gaano kaiba ang work life or like gaano kaiba ang daily life in your work in your work nung in your in your first companies and now you're doing this in Converge?
How do I answer that?
Or was it the same
I
or was
think
it
no. I
similar?
think when I started my career, staff ka lang eh. So more of you do what you're assigned to do, right? And your focus is on doing a good job. That yung output mo wala nang rework, it's quality, matatanggap ng customer, ng client, right? But then as I went up in the career ladder, there's less direction, less defined
Hmm.
requirements. Ako na yung nagde-define, 'di ba?
Oh.
So when I was a director, it's more of trying to manage teams, sell, do business development, chart a path, right? For myself. So more self-directed na talaga. And then in until even partner, because you're running a business, right? So strategy to execution. Now when moving uh to the telecom sector, working for Converge, um now it's the direction is set by the owner, right? Dennis and Grace Uy, right? But then now, how do you execute that? How do you make that work on the ground? How do you engage partners to deliver what the targets are and operationalize that vision? That's the no. So the thinking process slightly different. The level of responsibility is also very different. Um, So yeah, so I think that's how it's changed over the years.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's actually a big question, ano, sir.
Mm.
Kumbaga, you mentioned nga na, how do you deal with being directionless? Kasi kumbaga,
Mm.
you're the executive, you're the
Mm.
leader na, no? You're one leading the people. So, paano nga ba, sir? I mean, maybe it's also part of IE, no, that you get to be a leader, you get to be a manager,
Mm.
and you deal with a lot of people, you deal with
Mm.
organization. So, meron ka ba dyan, sir, mga advice on how to maybe like make a big group of people work towards a common goal?
Mm.
Does it take leadership? Does it take good management? Or what does it take really
Mm.
to do big things like this?
Kailangan talaga maging inspiring.
Mm.
But inspiring people towards a vision first depends on the clarity of that vision. And sometimes that's what you need to do, take time to do first. And clarifying that vision, you don't do that alone, right? Do that with your inner circle, your team, your direct reports, so that they have buy-in into that vision. And being a good IE, you translate that vision in operational terms, right? Hindi lang pwedeng,
Mm.
ang vision statement namin ay to become the best telecoms player in the Philippines. Anong sabihin nun?
Oo.
Right? What does that mean in terms of organization, in terms of structure, in terms of processes, in terms of technology? And then how do you translate that into, you know, targets, objectives, programs, projects, and initiatives? So, it's ayun, IE yun, 'di ba?
Yes, very IE, very
Metrics-based, 'di ba?
IE. Ayun.
So, yun, translating the fluffy, supposedly very inspiring vision into something na, okay, now I know everybody knows what they need to do in their area of work to work towards a vision. And then
Mm.
you're trying to just orchestrate that,
Mm.
'di ba?
Actually, grabe, ano, parang very different din talaga yung perspective mo when you're working.
Hmm.
Maybe, let's say, kumbaga at the bottom,
Mm.
hindi naman bottom maybe, pero parang you're part of the workforce. And when you're already like the leader, you're already the executive, having to manage the people
Mm.
doing this work, ano. I have here, sir, yung 6 pillars ng IE na actually favorite ng maraming mga IE students. So,
6 pil wala kami nung time na yun,
question lang, sir, ano, parang which of these pillars parang yung maybe pinaka nakapag-define ng iyong IE career,
Mm.
ano, or parang pinaka nakatulong sa iyong IE career maybe. So, here are systems thinking, number 1,
Mhm.
process thinking, number 2, continuous improvement, number 3, customer centricity, number 4,
Mm.
quality orientation, number 5, and metrics based, number 6. So if I'll ask you, sir, to maybe rank or maybe choose the top 3, so which dito sa mga pillars na ito
Patingin nga
ang
mahina yung memory ko, eh. Okay, definitely number 1 is systems thinking.
systems thinking?
Uh, Taking a holistic view of things and not just it's not just a system. It's not a closed system. It's open system. So there are external factors that you have to always think when you did analyzing or even designing a system. That's number 1 for sure. Maybe number 2 is quality orientation.
Oh, quality
Uh,
orientation.
Honor and excellence nga, eh. So I think especially earlier in my career, what got me, to accelerate my career and be known as a trusted junior staff na kahit anong ibato mo kay bench, kaya niyang gawin is quality
Oh,
orientation. So doing the best work you can within the time available. And then I think that maybe the third continuous improvement, because that's what
yes.
my mindset for myself,
Mm.
right? And then also of course on the work that I do and the teams I lead, it's always about questioning, what else can we do to make it better? And yeah, and I would add there the process thinking, because for me, the continuous improvement is improvement in the process.
Mm.
It's always the process, and uh, the technology just enables the process.
Yes.
People, in terms of training, the capabilities, they need to be trained in the process. It still always goes back to the process. So yun.
In one word, sir, what do you think is IE all about? One word only.
Oh my God, ang hirap niyan.
Medyo mahirap nga yun.
Effectiveness.
Effectiveness. Okay. And Ayun sir, so medyo patapos na rin tayo sa ating conversation. We're very thankful and actually very honored to have you here dito sa actually you're the first ever guest
Ngey.
nitong new Kaizen podcast. But what do you think should be the future of industrial engineering, especially like in a perspective as a nation, as the Philippines? So
Mm,
how do you think should IEs be trained, and kumbaga
mm,
how do you think should IEs be developed
mm,
to be future leaders, to be future
mm.
experts in industry? So what do you think is the future of industrial engineering?
I think at its core, no change really. But where we apply our IE skills maybe needs a shift. Um, I'm concurrently the chief sustainability officer of Converge, and what my role requires is that I be the one to think about how we minimize the negative impacts we have on the environment, on people, um, on our customers, etc., in the economy, and also maximize the good that we do in the world. So, and if you want to do that, you need to take a systems approach, right? You need to use systems thinking. You need to use the IE tools and all of that. But I think IEs very rarely think about, oh, I'll do sustainability. The people who get into sustainability from the College of Engineering are usually mga ChemEng, or if you're from College of Science, mga environmental science
Yes.
or environmental engineering. So like so my manager, for in at Converge for sustainability, who I recruited, is a ChemEng graduate from UP and part-time lecturer also of at DCHE, right? So, but I think IEs never think about, oh, magsusustainability ako. I think this is one area where taking a holistic and systems-based approach, a multidisciplinary approach, which is what we're good at, is really needed to solve the most important problems of our time for the world. It's in the environment. It's uh, uh, welfare of people, human rights, and development of our economy. Yeah.
And sige sir, maybe makapag-deep dive tayo ng onti diyan sir, So you're currently the Chief Commercial Officer and Chief Sustainability Officer. So
Yeah.
what does it really mean, Maybe yung CCO din muna, and then
Yeah.
yung Chief Sustainability Officer
Okay.
in Converge.
Okay. CCO, all I do is basically I head marketing and sales. So marketing, so our brand, FiberX, Vida, which is our lower cost brand, and Surf to Sava, which is our prepaid brand. So I'm in charge of that. And then in terms of sales, I lead teams and manage sales channels for both the residential side, so home broadband, but also enterprise side, which is businesses, Converge business. So we're charged. My targets there are really around revenue and subscribers, trying to build our subscriber base across the country, and with our network being now nationwide, more or less, we want to wire up, connect more households and businesses across the nation. So that's commercial. On the sustainability side, my other role is yun nga, to have to define and implement an ESG or sustainability strategy. ESG just means environmental, social, and governance, right? So what that entails is defining, for example, our not net zero targets, how we're going to reduce the carbon intensity of our business. So that's why we pushed very hard to have our two largest data centers now on renewable energy. Um, uh, Also driving educating all the departments across the business to become more to try to find ways to be less carbon intensive. So hence, circular economy. We're trying to recycle modems. So
Oh.
modems that are in people's houses, pag nag-disconnect nila, ayaw na nila sa Converge, find a way na bawiin namin yung modem,
Ah.
refurbish, reuse, kaysa matapon sa landfill. Things like that. Or even our advertising, mga banners namin, mga tarp, pag tapos na yung promo, what are you gonna do with the tarp? Throw it away? No, we recycle it. We turn it into bags and products, which we use for our promos, our gifts, things like that, little things like that. But also being very focused with how we support the government's digitalization agenda. That's why, for example, uh, may libreng Wi-Fi na sa NAIA.
Mm.
Uh, nung tax season, may libreng Wi-Fi sa BIR. Yeah. We wired up many public schools, many town municipal halls and city halls to help digitize the country. So that's what I'm kind of trying to be the conscience of the company to make sure that when we run our business, it's yes, we have to make money, but also we have to make an impact. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually very nice to hear
Yeah.
na nag-e-evolve din kumbaga
Yeah.
ang roles ng IE. So
Yeah.
hindi lang puro profit hindi lang puro kita kundi yung overall sustainability and yung overall maybe parang long-term effect niya, long-term impact
Correct.
sa buong Pilipinas din
Yes.
talaga So ayun sir, siguro let's end lang with an advice to our listeners how maybe as an industrial engineer or maybe parang what keeps you driven in your whole IE career and what can you give to them as advice na parang how should they navigate their careers, how should they build their careers, and how should they develop themselves further as industrial engineers?
Tough question because I think that's different for every person. But if I were you, if you're unsure about whether to get into something or not, their default answer should be yes. Just dive into it, do it. If later on you find out ayaw mo na, then you can always change, right? But better to try something new than to stay where you are, I would say. Definitely.
Try something new. So maraming salamat Sir Bench for being the first guest dito sa Kaizen Blitzing Your IE Career, the IE podcast. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you
Thank you.
very
That was a
much.
lot of fun. Okay. Bye.